Hi, today we're gonna go over some calculator steps that are related to the exam, okay? So first, I'm gonna do an overview of what you should do when you get your calculator, okay? So the first thing that you should do when you get your calculator is go to Mode, okay? And then you're gonna go all the way down to Stat Diagnostics, and you're gonna put it on, okay? That's the first thing and very first thing, okay? Now, once you do that, right, you're gonna come back to your calculator, okay? Okay, and then you can use it for the exam, okay? So one of the first questions that we can use the calculator to solve is what's called the equivalent questions, okay? So as you can see, right, in this question, the expression, and then they give you an equation, is equivalent to, and they give you 4 different kinds of equation, right? You could use the normal distribution and combine like terms to solve, but the easier way, and if you forget how to combine like terms, you can use this shortcut, okay? So go to y equals, and then we're gonna put the main equation, okay? Next, we're gonna input each of the answer choices in Y2, okay? And then we're gonna do second graph, okay? As you can see, Y1 and Y2 are not equal, and that is not our answer choice. So we can cross it off, okay? So let's do that again. Go to the second Y2, and we're gonna put in the next answer choice. And again, the number is not the same. We can cross off that answer too. And let's go to the third answer choice. Okay, the answer is not the same, and we can cross off that answer too. So let's go to the last one. Second graph, okay? As you can see, the number is exactly the same between answer choice Y1 and Y2. And that tells me that this is my answer, okay? So I can circle that one, okay? So the second type of question that you can use the calculator for is what's called the radical questions, right? A question like this, you can see which sum is irrational, right? You can simply input this straight into the calculator if you're not sure about the perfect squares, okay? So one way to do it is to select the perfect squares, and the radical numbers that are not perfect squares, right? They would be irrational. So let's take a look, okay? So we're gonna go from answer choice 1. When you're inputting radical, you can use second x squared, okay? So plus So as you can see, this is a pretty big decimal, okay? We're going to hold off on saying that that is the answer until we check all the answer choices, okay? Okay, 4. So one thing, in order to input the fraction in the calculator, you're going to use alpha x or alpha y equals 1, okay? Whichever works, alpha x. Okay, 8. Okay, so this we get a whole number, and that is definitely not our answer. A whole number is not irrational. Okay, so next, let's go here, alpha x. Okay, so if we type this one in, we get 21 divided by 2. So let's do 21 divided by 2 and see what kind of decimal. We get 10.5, okay? So the last one that we get is 40. So the last one is not our answer either. Okay. So now next, I'm going to show you why the first one is our answer. The first one that we got is a really big decimal, right? But the third one we got is 10.5. Okay. The irrational number is the really big decimal number. Okay. So we can select that as the answer. Okay. Next. Okay. We're going to go to this question in number 6. It's what's called the intersection question, okay? Every time you see an equation, right? One part of the equation is on the left-hand side and the other part is on the right side. Anytime you're trying to get the solution to this equation, you can always use your calculator, okay? You can go to Okay, there are two ways of using the calculator. One is plugging in the number 15 into your x, each of the answer choices into your s. The other one, which is this one, is much easier. Okay, you can input the fraction on the left-hand side into the calculator. And then I'm going to put the right side right here, okay? And then I'm going to do second graph, okay? And then I'm going to go to take a look at the solution that gives me 14, okay? Okay, right here. You can see that y1 is equal to y2, and the solution is 14, okay? So that is our answer, and we can circle that. Okay. Moving on. Okay. The next type of question that we can use the calculator for is what's called the zeros question. Okay. When you're asked to find the zeros, you're asked to find the y-intercept. Okay, what is the y-intercept? It's where x is equal to 0. Okay, so what we can do is type in the main function into y equals Okay. And then we're going to do second graph. Okay. And then we're going to check the table. Okay. Okay. To see where, okay. Oh, sorry. The x-intercept is y equals 0. Okay. Y equals 0. So we're going to check the table to see where all the values where y equals 0. Okay. So you see that we have -2 here. We see we have 0. And then if we scroll down, we also have 5. Okay. So that is our answer, and our answer is number 2. Okay. So next question that we have is the y-intercept question. Okay. So in number 10, this is a classic y-intercept question. Okay. They give you 2 points and they tell you that it's a line and you're supposed to find the y-intercept. Okay. You can do it by hand, right? Using the point slope formula, or you can just type it into the calculator. Okay, stat, edit. Okay. So what we're going to do is first clear L1 and L2. Okay, clear. And then we're going to type in the data as we see it. -1, enter. 5, enter. And then 2, enter. And then -1. Okay. So we're going to do stat, calc, and then we're going to go to 4, enter, 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 enter. Okay. So now, what is the y-intercept here? It is the number b. So that is 3 in this case, and we can choose 3. Okay. Okay. So let me check if there's any more questions that we can use the calculators on. Okay. So this question, right? Number 16 is the classic example of what we can use the calculator. Okay, I'm going to just go over it very quickly. Okay, when you see a dot plot here, what you can do is input the entire dot plot into your calculator. Okay, so let's clear L1 and L2. So again, it's stat edit, right, to get the screen. Now we're going to input 0, 0, 0. So for every, and you're going to input it all into L1. Okay, 1, 1, 1. For every dot, you're going to input the number. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now you're going to do stat, calc, and then you're going to do 1 for one variable statistics. Okay. So now you see that the mean is 2.5, right? X bar, that's mean. And then if we scroll down, the median is also 2.5. So that means our answer is number 2. Okay, number 2. Okay, that's all for all the questions that you can solve with the calculator. Okay, and good luck on the exam.